Welcome, welcome, welcome to the number one client creation code, which is stay high. Just like these lovely hippies in the photograph. It's always stay in the vibration of service. So let's get stuck straight in. Service is the number one client creation code. Now, fundamentally, this is for two different reasons I'm going to be breaking down with you. The first is when you serve, your vibration is high. You know this when you're coaching. If you're on this program, this will definitely ring true for you. When you're coaching, you're in a high vibration. We want to be staying in a high vibration the whole time. Typically speaking, when people do sales and marketing, what do? We go into a low vibration. So we always want to come from the vibration of service. We always want to be high. I'm going to unpack that. The second is serving powerfully is actually the fastest way to succeed in business. I'm going to really unpack this for you here. But what you'll notice is the best, most successful, most long-term, tried and tested, stand the test of time businesses are the ones that serve the most powerfully. So serve. It's all about service. So let's start with the raising vibration. Serving raises your vibration. Most people find, as I already mentioned, that when they do the business side of coaching, they get into a low vibration. So many of us find that when we do sales and marketing, we feel a deep sense of resistance. And actually, so many coaches, because they really hate the sales and marketing stuff, they love the coaching stuff. They love it. There's two things in your coaching life, right? In your coaching world, there's two things. There's the coaching stuff and there's the business stuff. Most coaches love the coaching stuff. In fact, if you don't love the coaching stuff, you shouldn't be a coach. But most coaches hate the business stuff. So what I'm going to show you is how we make them both the same. So you're at a high vibration all the time. And consequently, most coaches avoid and procrastinate and end up hating the business side of coaching, and therefore how they're going to create clients. They don't really, and a lot of coaches are struggling. So I'm going to show you how to make them two the same. The secret is come from the vibration of service. Makes everything so much easier and so much more fun. And again, this isn't about some slick marketing strategy. This is about things that actually work to put you in a genuine high vibration. One of the biggest reasons why most coaches struggle to create clients is because they avoid doing all the things that they should be doing to create clients. Why? Because it puts them in a low vibration. They don't want to come across as sales and all that kind of jazz. You don't have to. It doesn't need to be this way. What if there was a simple solution? There is. Stay high. Serving gets you high. Stay in the vibration of service. So, how does serving raise our vibration? Well, again, so really, I mean, I've already made this point, but here we are. There's two sides of the business, right? My mentor, Stephen Chandler, used to call this on, where are you on your ladder? Okay, he used to call it the ladder, the vibration ladder. So low vibration, the bottom of the ladder is things like shame, guilt, fear. These are unproductive, low vibrational energies that probably a lot of you help your clients overcome. We don't want to be putting you in this. This is not where you create magic. This is not where you create clients. It's not where you create powerful coaching agreements. But when you're coaching, you're at the top of your ladder. This is the ladder. This is when you're experiencing love, joy, bliss. This is when you're more creative. You get good ideas. It's where inspiration comes from. We want you to be at the top of your ladder. We also want the people that you are enrolling to be at the top of their ladder. And that comes by virtue of you being up here. But obviously, when we're doing the business stuff, we become in a low vibration. So when you make the two the same, when both of them come from the vibration of service, you're in a high vibration no matter what. You're in a high vibration when you're coaching, in a high vibration when you are selling, marketing, lead generation, all of that jazz. This is the other thing, right? So the point here is every single last business activity that you do should come from the vibration of service. It shouldn't come from the vibration of I want something. It should come from the vibration of I am serving and giving value. Help us high. This is the other thing, right? Studies have been shown that there is this thing called a helper's high. What is a helper's high? So psychologists have identified a typical state of euphoria reported by those engaged in charitable activity. They call it the helper's high. It's based on the theory that giving produces endorphins in the brain that provide a mild version of a morphine high. So serving literally gets you high. When you serve and you're giving, you actually get some mild version of morphine inside you. So we want to be tapping into that. We don't want to be tapping into the shame and the guilt and the, oh, I'm feeling salesy. Actually, the fastest way to engage in client creation is from coming from this vibration of service. It's wonderful. And it's so easy to do. There's a wonderful experiment that I learned from Jay Shetty, which I'm calling the $10 experiment. And this just proves the fact that we actually hardwired to serve. And so the experiment goes like this, very, very briefly. These psychologists gave these students $10 and they said, right, go out and buy something. And they all went out and bought something, coffees and sandwiches. And they came back and said, right, now on this app, rank your happiness levels from 1 to 10. They ranked, 6 and 7. So it was quite nice. The next day, they gave them $10 and they said, right, go out and buy something. And they went out and bought the same stuff. And they said, but this time, instead of you keeping it, you have to give it away to a stranger. And so they gave these things away to strangers. And when they came back, guess what happened? When they ranked their happiness levels went through the roof. Why? Because it feels so good to give. This is the 12D. It's all about serving. Make serving a part of everything that you do in your life. Story time, how serving changed my life. I remember about a year ago, I went through a really traumatic experience. And I really lost myself for a certain period of time. And I was post-trauma. I was even thinking, I don't think I want to be doing coaching. I'm not sure I'm going to be doing this in my business anymore. And the early version of this training, which I had an early version, I actually deleted and put in my Evernote trash folder. And I was like, I'm walking away from this, genuinely. And I was in a very, very, very low vibration, not depressed. I was still grounded and jovial, but I was lost by virtue of going through a trauma. And one of my friends, he asked me to help him with this business for a week. So I did. And what I got to do for a week was coach 2 men a day who had just gone through severe heartache. And these are men that haven't touched any personal growth in their life and they were really lost. And even though that I was in a lower vibrational energy in my own life, soon as I tapped in to service, soon as I tapped in to coaching these men, I transformed. And from the Monday to the Friday, because I tapped into this helper's high, I became a new man. And actually, it was this 1 week, and there'd been probably 4 to 5 months of me feeling lost. This 1 week of serving about 8 men tuned me into my soul's mission, tuned me into the helper's high, and I completely transformed, and everything in my life got better. Why? Because serving gets you high. Make service a part of everything that you do in business and in life. If you approach all of your business from the context of service, then you'll maintain a high vibration. So what we want to be doing, there's fundamentally 3 things that you get to do in your business. You coach, serve when you're coaching. You do lead generation, serve when you're doing lead generation, and you sell, serve when you sell. I'm going to be showing you and unpacking you throughout all of these trainings. All of these principles are interconnected. When you do lead generation, when I teach you lead generation, you're going to see where I'm teaching you serving. When you're doing selling, I'm going to teach you where I'm teaching you serving. And also coaching, well, you got that one anyway. When you approach client creation from the context of service, your day is a happy one filled with connection, love, and service, not filled with failed sales calls or low vibrational marketing activities that you avoid and don't like doing. It is your get out of jail free card. When you decide, okay, I'm going to create some clients now, instead of being like, oh, the amount of times I hear, and this will probably resonate with a lot of you, it's like, oh, I don't want to come across as needy. Oh, I've got to send somebody a message. I don't want to come across as needy. Suddenly you get to go, no, flip it. Come from the vibration of service and actually come from service. Actually come from service. This is the other one. This is your real get out of jail free card. If there is ever a moment in the client creation process that you notice yourself being in a low vibration, I'll give you some examples in a sec. Catch yourself. Just like, when you're meditating, when they teach meditation, it's like the idea is we want to be in the present moment, but inevitably the mind will wander. And then you notice the mind has wandered, and guess what you do? You come back. And that's totally cool. Your mind's allowed to wander and come back to the present moment. And that's training. Every time you catch yourself and come back, guess what's happened? You've just created a new neurological pathway, and you make it even easier and more likely that you stay in the present moment longer with consistency and practice. The same thing when it comes to experimenting with this new code in your own life as it pertains to client creation. Whenever you notice yourself going, I'm in high vibration, I'm serving. And then when you go, oh, I'm in a low vibration. Now, instead of stewing in the low vibration for months upon end and not creating clients, I invite you to go, oh, okay, when did I stop serving? And then come back to service. And this is what you get to do. Every time you sense that you're in a low vibration, you get to ask yourself, when did I stop serving? So for example, with lead generation, I remember talking to somebody She's a friend of mine, somebody I used to live with, and I actually hired her as well. She's incredible what she does. And she and I had a coaching consultation call. And it was a market research conversation where I was offering her value. And one thing that became very, very apparent with her, she is huge, and maybe this will land with you, huge resistance to coming across as salesy. She absolutely hates the idea of when somebody sends her a cold outreach message on social media. She hates it. She hates it so much. She's so repulsed by it that she so doesn't want to come across as salesy that she actually doesn't create clients. And I remember having a look at her her Instagram, and she has hundreds and hundreds of people liking and commenting on all of her images. She's incredible. My assumption was she's doing really, really well. And very quickly, when I spoke to her, it was very quick and easy for me to get to the diagnosis that what she was doing is she wasn't applying this code. She had all of her ducks were lined up in a row, but she wasn't applying the service code. What did that look like for her? What that looked like was people were reaching out to her saying, "Tell me what you do, da 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 da," and she would avoid replying to them because she didn't want to come across as salesy. So my invitation to her was, well, what if you flip the script? What if when you reply to them, you come from the place of offering value. You come from the place of offering service. When you have an enrollment conversation, you serve them. When you engage with them, you serve them. You serve them by getting curious, by getting inside their world, finding out who they are, what they need, and seeing where you can offer value. Maybe you'll give them some insights, some downloads, some codes, a book. Serve, 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 serve. And then you get to invite them into an enrollment conversation if it feels great, but from the vibration that you've already served them, even if it's just by virtue of getting curious and loving them, and also by knowing that when anybody spends time with you, no matter what the context, you're coming from this vibration of offering value and abundantly, so that you know you're always doing good and improving their lives. And especially when you know that an enrollment conversation is you offering them value. It shifted so much for her. Another one. So for example, let's say that you are on an enrollment conversation. This is a huge common one. If you're on an enrollment conversation and everything's been going super duper well and you're loving life, have you noticed this? There'll be some point in the enrollment conversation where you lose your power. There'll be some point in the enrollment conversation where you go, I don't like this, more often than not. Maybe you've mastered it, in which case, amazing. But for a lot of coaches I've observed, there's always some point. One of the biggest ones is objection handling. Suddenly everything's going well, and then suddenly somebody says, oh, I don't have the money, or whatever the objection is, and then you get into a low vibrational state. And you start operating for the sense of, I want money, I want this client, and you stop serving them, you feel weird, and maybe they feel weird, and very often the client slips through the net. When did you stop serving in this moment? The attitude and energetics that I invite you to embody on enrollment conversations is the vibration of you are here as an assistant buyer, not as a salesperson. What's the distinction? The distinction is you're inside that conversation to get a correct, and I'll break this down in the sales codes, to get a correct diagnosis of the person in front of you, no matter the outcome. When somebody says objection, you get to help problem solve that objection with them, not from the vibration of, I want your money, I need your money, I needed a client, but from the vibration of, cool. So I heard this objection. Let's explore this objection. Let's see if it's real. Let's see if I can get creative and we can put you on a payment plan, whatever it might be, from the energy of I'm here to serve you as an assistant buyer, not here to take your needs. Make sense? I hope that's landing. Another example, literally, any time that you feel resistance or a low vibration when creating clients, notice and ask yourself, when did I stop serving? And that is going to be your quick fix. So no matter what the variable, whether it's lead generation, inside a conversation, inviting somebody into an enrollment conversation, on the enrollment conversation, at one particular point in the enrollment conversation, no matter when it is, when you notice you're in a low vibration, that is number one, your impetus and signal to ask, when did I stop serving here? And then you get to go, oh, how do I now come from the vibration of service? And you get to shift your energy. Boom. It's your get out of jail free card. Serving, serving, serving. High vibrational benefits. Stay high, stay serving. Why is being a high vibration beneficial? Well, we communicate better when we're in the high vibration. We are better at problem solving, creative thinking, and positive thinking when we're in the high vibration. So if you're objection handling, if you're selling, if you're coaching, anything, you want to be in a high vibration, because then you're going to be better at using your brilliant mind. It cuts through mindset limitations. Instead of like, oh, I'm just trying to get money from this person, I'm trying to get money from this person, or, oh, I'm taking their valuable time. No, you're offering them your value. You're offering them your valuable time because you are serving them. It's not about taking, it's about giving. Subtle and yet so easily overlooked, especially when we hear all this horrible language from the 3D marketers and salespeople. Again, I invite you to serve. The best salespeople serve, the best businesses serve the best. It cuts through your attachment to money on sales calls. Your attachment should be to serve them by, number one, getting a correct diagnosis of them so you can help them make the right choice for them no matter the outcome. Super duper simple. Yes, self-explanatory. Also, when you come from the vibration of service, it's easier to connect with them and it's easier to build rapport. Key point. This is a crucial point as well. When we come from, number one, a high vibration, and number two, the vibration of service, authentic service, we also put those that we are speaking into, we also put those that we are speaking to in a high vibration also. We want you to be at the top of your ladder. We want them to be at their top of your ladder. This is where clients are created, up here. You know when you feel that sense of magic with a client and it's just so easy to enroll somebody? That's because you're both at the highest point of your ladder. So you want to get to the highest point of your ladder, and by virtue of you getting up there and embodying the other client creation codes, particularly rapport, etc., they're going to be at the top of their ladder as well, which makes it easier for them to feel good about working with you, get creative and problem solve so that they can work with you, and make a yes decision to work with you. It's all energetics, baby. Everything is energetics. In 100 years' time, the whole entire world is going to really know how important energetics is in all areas of life, manifestation, creation, everything. Health. You can't fake service on an energetic level. You can pretend to serve and you can pretend you're doing good in the world, but energetically, you cannot lie to yourself energetically. This is not about pretending to serve. The secret is to actually serve. So if you notice energetically you're low, ask yourself, when did I stop serving, and get back into the vibration of service. It's not about you, it's about them. That's the key. Number two, so the other reason why service is the most important client creation code is, and this is it, this is the secret, this is the number one secret to business, by the way. The fastest way to succeed in business is to offer the best service. Everything is a byproduct of the value that you offer in your business. So, and I love this quote. Zig Ziglar is an old school sales trainer, and he comes from a high vibration of service. He's not one of those, Wolf of Wall Street kind of, like sleazy sales esque salespeople. He's actually comes from a place of love, and he's a servant of love. And this is one of my favorite quotes from him. He says, "You can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want." AKA, good business is all about serving. It's about offering as much value as we possibly can. The key points here: success in business comes in direct proportion to the value of the service we provide to our clients. The more value we offer, the better our service. The better our service, the more success that comes our way. Via referrals. If you serve somebody so powerfully, you won't even need to ask for referrals. They'll be telling all their friends. When you go and see a good film, what do? You tell all your friends. The director of the movie didn't ask you to, you just do. Same thing when you go to a great restaurant. When you're served powerfully, you tell everybody. You can get more income and more spiritual happiness as well from service, obviously. And the other key point here is you're going to get more clients renewing with you. Super duper important. When you serve them and you keep growing and get better as a coach, they're going to keep renewing with you. Why wouldn't they? This is a limitless, infinite game of coaching. Now, I love this. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, says, is that if there is one thing that Amazon is about, it's obsessive attention to the customer. Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, owns Amazon. And his number one principle, he even wrote this. I read a book which was speaking about the letters that he wrote to his shareholders. And he said, our number one tenet and value for Amazon is to be obsessed with the obsessive attention to the customer. In fact, if memory serves me correctly, Amazon and Jeff Bezos were so committed to obsessing over giving so much value to Amazon customers, they didn't make a profit for their first decade. But then look what happened. They've become the beast that they are today. And guess what? Name a company that rivals Amazon. I can't think of one. They're in a whole league of their own. Why? Because they serve the best. It's that simple. His commitment to making shipping so cheap so we could get cheap shipping made them at a loss for ages. Anyway, for a decade. Video time. Now, just to really ram this point home, I am going to play you about 4-minute clip of this video. And you can accelerate the speed if you'd like. I'm going to keep it on normal speed. But this is essentially, just watch here. Just watch. Now, this video was made in 1999. This is before Jeff Bezos became the richest man in the world. This is before Amazon became Amazon, right? And he's being grilled, as you'll see by this interviewer. And watch how he stands his ground. And the main point that he keeps coming back to is essentially the reason why I think we're going to succeed and become the Amazon that we know that they did become was because right then at the very beginning, they had this number one principle in place, which is we are obsessively serving our customers. Check this out.
Long term, I believe that it's very easy to predict that there are going to be lots of successful companies born of the internet. They're going to have very large market caps and so on. I also believe that today, where we sit, it's very hard to predict who those companies are going to be. So, you can make bets on these things. And I think that Amazon.com, if we're not one of those important, lasting companies born of the internet, we will have nobody to blame but ourselves, and that we will be extremely disappointed in ourselves. But there are no guarantees. It's very, very hard to predict. If you go back and look at the companies created by the PC revolution, in 1980, you probably wouldn't have predicted the 5 winners, the 5 biggest winners. There have been lots of winners, actually. So this space is a little different, and brand name may mean more, and there's some increase in returns, kinds of things may mean more. But I believe that if you can focus obsessively enough on customer experience, selection, ease of use, low prices, more information to make purchase decisions with, if you can give customers all that, plus great customer service, and with our toys and electronics, we have a 30-day return policy. If you can do all of that, then I think you have a good chance. And that's what we're trying to do.
You're not really a pure internet company anymore either, are you? I mean, you've got millions of square feet now of real estate. You've got a huge and growing inventory of items that you keep in stock.
We do whatever.
And you've got thousands and thousands of employees now.
Yeah, we have over 3,000 employees and over 4 million square feet of distribution center space. And those are things I'm very, very proud of. Because with that distribution center space and half a dozen distribution centers around the country, it allows us to get product close to customers so that we can ship it to customers in a very timely way, which improves customer service levels. That's what we're about. If there's one thing Amazon.com is about, it's obsessive attention to the customer experience, end to end. And that's what those distribution centers
But you're not a pure internet player.
It doesn't matter to me whether we're a pure internet player. What matters to me is do we provide the best customer service. Internet, schminternet, that doesn't matter.
Well, but it does matter to your investors to know whether they're investing in a company that
they should be investing in a company that obsesses over customer experience. In the long term, there is never any misalignment between customer interests and shareholder interests.
So that's the same argument that somebody at Walmart would make as well, wouldn't they?
I don't see why not. I think they should make that argument.
So
it's a correct argument.
Okay. So you'll open as many square feet of space, physical space, as you have to, hire as many employees as you have to
service customers. Absolutely. And we'll do it as rapidly as we can.
That's a very cost intense proposition.
Not compared to opening an equivalent network of retail stores. So if you open a bunch of chain stores, look, when we open a distribution center, we're opening places that may have where we may pay 30 cents a square foot for a lease, instead of paying $7 a square foot, which you might pay in a high traffic retail area. So when you compare those things, they're not the same. You can't compare a big chain of retail stores to half a dozen distribution centers. It's just not, it's bad math.
Okay. Either way, whichever side of the argument you believe, you're making what seems to me to be.
There's only one side, which is obsess over customers.
But it seems to me that both with the speed of your growth in terms of the number of stores online that you're opening, the different businesses you're getting into, the number of distribution centers and you're opening and new employees you're hiring, that you are making an intense gamble here, which is twofold. One, that you can run this number of businesses, different businesses, well, and two, that you can make money by selling vast volumes of product at essentially razor-thin profit margins.
I think that the first one in particular, I agree with wholeheartedly, which is that there's no guarantee that Amazon.com can be a successful company. What we're trying to do is very complicated. There's huge execution risk involved. We have a terribly complicated business. We're growing, historically very rapidly. We're opening new product categories. We're expanding in new geographies. We have whole new business models with things like auctions. Now, we think this is the less risky of the two approaches because scale is important in this business. And you need scale also to offer the lowest prices and the best customer service to people. So scale is important to us, and we're going to go after that kind of scale. But it does mean that the executional challenges are huge. And so you'll find a bunch of people back in Seattle and around the world working very hard to make sure we service customers at the level that they're used to. And then
it's all about service. Heard from the big man himself. I hope I made my point here. And I hope Jeff Bezos made the point that really fundamentally everything is about service. Serve, 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 serve. Fundamentally, it all boils down to this idea, okay? When it comes to being in the vibration of service, I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm trying to serve you. You become the best in the world, not by striving to become the best, but by striving to offer the best possible service in the world. And just like Jeff Bezos, that was, as he really made his point crystal clear, we have all these complications, but fundamentally what we are doing is doing everything in our power to offer the best possible service in the world. And when you strive to offer the best possible service in the world, guess what? You become the best in the world. It's not an ego thing. I want to be the best. It's I want to offer the best service in the world. And then guess what? You become the best by virtue of the power of service. And particularly here, this is something that Jeff says, something that I'm saying to you is that actually you become the best by serving even those that will never pay you a cent. Notice the difference? You become the best in the world not by striving to become the best, but by striving to offer the best possible service in the world, even to those that will never pay you a cent. Super duper important. And something that my mentor Jay Abraham speaks into. He actually, who's like the best marketer in the world, here's this strategy, which is the strategy of preeminence. And essentially what he says is, the strategy of preeminence means this. You want to position yourself in the mind of the market that you are here to serve as the number one most trusted advisor for life. When you come from the vibration of service, serving in everything that you do, serving, if you do Instagram, serve, offer value, offer more value than anybody else is, even before they've paid you. People are going to see you as valuable. And by virtue of that, they're going to come to you first. They're going to come to you first because you've already served them even before they've paid you. And they're going to be thinking, wow, if I've got this amount of value from this human being before I've even paid them, whether that be in a free session, in the DMs, for your content, through anything, what's it going to be like when I actually pay them? You want to become the most trusted advisor in the minds of your market for life. And you do that by just overflowing with abundantly of abundance of service. That is the key point. Now, some of you may have heard of this man called Gary Vaynerchuk, aka Gary V. He is a huge titan in the marketing space, massive, absolutely massive. And there was a beautiful book that he wrote. I can't remember the name of the book. And there's one chapter, and the chapter is called The Best Marketing Strategy in the World. And the chapter literally is one page with one word, and it's this. It's a screenshot of the chapter. It just says, care. The best marketing strategy in the world, care. And then flip the page, and it's the next chapter. And he was really making a point here. The best marketing strategy in the world is to actually care. To actually care. The secret to great service is to actually care about our clients and genuinely desire to make the biggest positive impact in their lives as we possibly can. We are all here. Every single last human being in here, when you shared your mission statement, underneath it, no matter how you've dressed it up, is this desire to make the world a better place. This desire to raise the consciousness of the planet. And fundamentally, the way that you do that, the way you succeed in that, is by overflowing with service. Overflowing with service. And by virtue of living your soul's mission, before you even got paid for it, the energetics just come to you. Everything comes to you. People want to hire you. People want to refer you. People want to get to know you. People want to spend time with you. Why? Because you're serving. Done. So, this is another really great reason why you should focus on service. So actually, what I'm going to share with you now is actually the most important thing as it pertains to sales. So for example, so many people, they go, right, I'm not very good at sales, or I hate sales. Well, the first thing is, if you hate sales, come from the vibration of service and notice how much more you enjoy it, okay? The second thing is not only do we need to come from the vibration of service, but we need to have high conviction in what we do. And it's easy for us to get high conviction in what we do by virtue of knowing how good we are, and we know how good we are by focusing on service. When we focus on offering value instead of just taking, we know how good we are. Our conviction increases, which means that it becomes so much more easier to stay in a high vibration when we're selling to somebody, because we know we've got something amazing. It's like, would you find it hard to sell $1 million for 10 grand? No, you wouldn't, because you know it's a great deal. It's the same thing with your coaching. So actually, when you focus on service, it increases your conviction, which makes it easier to market and sell because you know you have something amazing. Pure and simple. Okay, cool. So this diagram here, what is this diagram? So most sales training, so we haven't gone into sales training yet, okay, but we're going to get into sales training with you in the serve codes. Most sales training, they focus on this area here, which is your sales skills. And really there's two components to a sales conversation. There's your sales skills and there's your conviction in your product that you're selling. Now, if you were to rank these on a scale, sales skills would have to be on a scale of 1 to 10. But conviction would have to be on a scale from 1 to 100. Why? That's how much more weighted and important your conviction is as it pertains to the sales process. What does that mean? So what that means is that, you know, for example, have you ever gone and seen a film and then told 5 of your friends about the film, they've all gone to watch it? Yes. You might have 0 sales skills, but 100% conviction. You don't need sales skills because you've got such conviction. It's sales is a persuasion, and sales is a transfer of conviction, right? So when your conviction is high, you don't need sales skills. You don't need them. Why? Because people feel the energetics. You show up in a way. You show up from the vibration of conviction, and it is felt on an energetic level. It's all about energetics. So when you focus on service, it increases your conviction, which means that you're up here on the scale of conviction. Doesn't matter where you are on the sales skills. It literally does not matter at all. Why? Because conviction is what really makes sales occur. That's the number one game. And when you don't have conviction, when there's worthiness or imposter syndrome, all this kind of jazz, that subconsciously is transmitted inside enrollment conversations. So again, when you focus on sales, you eliminate imposter syndrome and you raise your conviction, which makes selling and marketing easy. Now, the old paradigm One of the reasons why so many coaches, like that example I gave you earlier, they hate and they avoid sales and marketing because they don't want to come across as sleazy and salesy. The amount of coaches they do fill out questionnaires before they want to work with me, or in market research I've done, one of the number one things that I see, especially when it comes to sales and marketing, the number one thing that I see is, how do I not come across as salesy? Now, the old paradigm is basically salesiness, and it's been ruined by the three-dimensional marketers and salespeople out there. And there's this slogan, I'm going to show you a little video now just for fun, of this idea of always be closing. It's about the vibration from the 3D is close, 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 close. We know it. We've all been on the receiving end of it. We all hate it. And I am inviting you to a new paradigm in a second where you don't even have to have anything to do with it. If none of you should ever say, oh, I don't want to come across as salesy ever again when I show you these two distinctions. So if you have ever gone into sales, you probably would have heard of this phrase, ABC, always be closing. And it comes from this film. And I'm going to play it to you just to kind of ram home a point here. It comes from this film. And this is what not to do. Really short clip.
And your name is your wanting, and you can't play in the man's game, you can't close them, then go home and tell your wife your troubles. Because only one thing counts in this life. Get them to sign on the line which is dotted. You hear me, you fucking faggots? A always be B, C closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. AID.
That's the game. This is exactly what everybody, whenever I hear somebody say, I don't want to come across as salesy, I always think of this, ABC, always be closing. You do not have to come from that world, that old paradigm, to be successful. You just don't. Like, if Jeff Bezos has proven anything, it's you want to come from the vibration of service. But also when it comes to sales, it's not about closing, 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 closing. That isn't what it's about. It's not what it's about. And it doesn't have to be about this at all. What is the new paradigm? Before I get on to that, most coaches want to have nothing to do with this paradigm. Close, 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 close. It's not about closing. You're never going to hear me use the word close as it pertains to anything tangible in this course. That isn't actually true. One of the client creation codes uses the word close in there, and it's more of just a placeholder so you understand what I mean by closing. So typically speaking, closing in the sales process is when you get to the sale, for example. So I'll only use it in that respect, but I won't use it in the vibration of you got to close, 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 aka treat this human being in front of you not like a divine spirit soul, but like cattle that you need to get something from. No, we have nothing to do with that paradigm. Most coaches avoid sales and marketing because they really do not want to come across as one of those sleazy guys, and you don't have to. You don't have to. Good. Introducing a new paradigm which feels great and which will yield way more results for you, which is this. The new paradigm is ABS, not ABC, ABS. Always be serving. Always be serving. And again, you serve when you are coaching, high vibration. You serve when you are doing lead generation, high vibration. And you serve when you are selling, high vibration. It will literally change the game. Conclusion. When you are practicing creating clients, when you practice creating clients from the context of service and making a genuine positive difference in someone else's life, the chances that you'll be in a high vibration are very, very, very high. And if you're not, you get to tune in and say, am I actually coming from the vibration of service here? The trick is to actually come from the vibration of service. When you come to create clients from a high vibration, you'll enjoy it and you'll actually do it. You won't avoid it. It becomes just as fun as coaching. That's the invitation here. The invitation is to make sales and lead generation just as fun as coaching because you are genuinely serving. The reason why most people procrastinate about getting clients is not because they can't do it. It's because they are coming at it from the wrong energy. It should, and because they don't necessarily know, no one's given them the new paradigm. It should really all be about service. When you come from that mental and energetic space, then you are in a position to succeed. Always be serving. It's about making coaching and client creation the exact same thing. When you're coaching your high vibration, when you're creating clients at high vibration. Why? Because you are serving in everything that you do. There is never, ever, ever a time that you are not serving. Ever. You're constantly serving. It's wonderful. You also get to receive as well. Don't forget that. I'm going to teach you more about that in the sales codes and the money codes as well. It's about receiving. It's about receiving. But you're serving. In the receiving, you serve. When you focus on service and being so good that they cannot ignore you, aka being obsessed with the value of the quality that you provide, you'll stay fully booked just from referrals and renewals alone. Because as I've already mentioned, when you serve someone so powerfully, they're going to tell their friends and they're going to want to renew with you, period. And there's a beautiful distinction that I'd like to bring in now. So if you haven't read the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, and you feel that you might have some money mindset blockages, I invite you to read the book. It's only 77 pages long. You can download it for free. It's such an old book that there's no copyright to it anymore. And actually, when I first read this book in 2019, I actually sent a copy to every single last client I had on all corners of the globe because it's such a powerful book, and particularly the first half. And it's actually, the woman Rhonda Byrne who wrote The Secret because she read this book and she just played with the ideas and concepts in terms of manifestation. But what I love about this book is it does teach you manifestation principles. But what I really love about the book is the other stuff in it and the energetics behind things. Not only does he say you have a duty to become rich so that you can make a positive impact in the world, but he has this beautiful distinction between a creator and a competitor. And fundamentally what he says is, let's have a look at so we've got a creator, client creation codes. What's creating? It's bringing things to life. Fundamentally, competitors do not believe in abundance. They believe in scarcity. Competitors do not believe in abundance. They believe in scarcity. And therefore, they hold tight onto their codes. They don't serve unless someone pays them money. And they're in competition with people all the time. They do not fundamentally believe that there is infinite abundance everywhere. And that is their biggest problem. You, however, I'm inviting you to, instead of being a competitor and come from that energy, this is his distinction, Wallace Wattles' distinction, competitor, I invite you to always be a creator. When you are creating clients, when you are serving clients, be a creator. What is a creator? A creator is somebody who fundamentally knows in the infinite abundance of everything in the world. And therefore, they are always giving off the impression of increase. Every time they interact with somebody, they are overflowing with value and abundance, and it is felt by all those around them. Creators create more life for all, not for themselves, for all. And by virtue of knowing that there is abundance everywhere, they get to serve abundantly. They get to create life for more. They get to create more life for all. And by virtue of that, guess what? You become in harmony. You cannot be in harmony with something you want if you're not in harmony with it. You cannot manifest something you want if you're not a vibrational match to it. How do you become a vibrational match to abundance? By being in harmony with it. And you get to be in harmony with the law of abundance by knowing that there is abundance all around us infinitely, and by acting accordingly, by serving and creating more life for all. That is my invitation to you. Now, finally, last but not least, remember, creating clients gets to be just as fun as coaching them and just as energetically high vibration as coaching them. Important. Keep ranking yourself on these codes. Print them out, bring them into your awareness. Rank yourself on these codes, practice them until they become second nature, and it's going to make client creation, staying fully booked, so easy. This program isn't about, I could just teach, I could be even more selective with who I bring in and teach one strategy and get you all fully booked. And then that's it. What I'm doing here is I'm teaching you everything that you need to know and embody so that you can always be fully booked forever and ever and ever. And it's about having these codes become second nature and not being dependent on me. When you've mastered this training, you won't be dependent on me. You won't be dependent on anybody. Why? Because you'll know everything that you need to know to always, no matter what happens. Let's say a strategy that you decide to use relies on social media. Let's say Instagram deletes or you get shadow banned from Instagram. Doesn't matter. Why? Because you know the holistic client creation codes. So we want these to be second nature. My commitment to you, my commitment to your clients, my commitment to your future clients, some who've never even been born yet, my commitment to raising the consciousness of the planet is to have you download these codes and embody them so that never ever again do you go, goodness me, I love coaching, but fuck me, it's so hard to create clients. No, it's not. Not when you got these codes downloaded. Play, 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 play. Mastery comes from playfulness and experimentation. That is it for today's training. Sending you love.